In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus.
I'm here.
You're here?
Just barely.
Yes, sir.
Just barely. But yeah, here, ready to do another review.
Another film review. Yes, sir.
What we do, we
That's
do a
what
lot of them.
We do them every day of the week.
Yeah.
So we don't mess around.
At this rate, in a few years, we will have done every film ever
made.
recorded by man.
Of course, because you cannot make a film a day. But we can sure as shit review
I
a
guarantee there's
film
probably
a day.
a film a day coming up. But
I guess worldwide, yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, so it's kind of an exciting day. It's another film that isn't that new, was damn near renowned when it came out. Everyone saw it. That we're doing around 2 years too late.
Too late, yeah. But you know what? 2 years too late is better than never, right?
That's very true. We are doing a 2019 South Korean film, Parasite.
A little film. I don't know if you heard of it. Won a couple small little awards.
It did. Won a couple indie awards.
Maybe the first foreign film ever to win Best Picture at the Oscars.
Took home a couple of those little golden naked guy statues.
More than a couple. I mean, double a couple. It took 4.
Double a couple. Your math is right, my friend. That is good math. But yeah, Parasite, directed by Bong Joon-ho, who's a very famous director. He's done many things. We reviewed Snowpiercer.
We reviewed that, I think, last year.
It's one of my favorites.
It's a fantastic film. And
love Snowpiercer.
Also deals with like class warfare.
Oh, absolutely. And that is a thing that Parasite deals with absolutely.
It does, yes.
Yeah, in a much more realistic way than Snowpiercer,
Very
where
much
you
so.
literally had the rich people at the front,
of the train,
and
and the poor in the back.
that was a much more heavy-handed metaphor.
That it was.
But yeah, this film deals with the same stuff, and that's always the mark of a good director, is when your film tackles a tough situation, but doesn't make you feel like you're learning about it, like an education or a documentary or something like that.
Or the fact, too, that you've seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, he's directed Snowpiercer. He's directed Okja on Netflix, a bunch of different things. But he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's safe to say at this point, this man is pretty damn good.
He's pretty funny, too. His Oscar, because he got tired of giving Oscar speeches at one point.
Well, I mean, after one,
yeah,
I would say enough is
but
enough.
I think by the time he won Best Picture, I think he just said something like, all right, let's get drunk. And I love that. Again, I think
great.
I have a strong feeling that South Koreans are very, very similar to Americans. They seem like the Americans of the Asian world.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty great. I like a short and sweet Oscar speech.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Joe Pesci, where he says 2 things. And then you never see the guy.
So you don't see him. Yeah, and then he just randomly shows up in The Irishman. You're like, well, I like it. I'm fine with it. But where the hell you been for 20 years?
Yep. But yeah, Parasite came out in 2019. It was on my top 10 list of 2019. But Mason, you dodged this film.
Well, I didn't
trying
dodge
to
it.
not see
I didn't
it.
dodge it.
Artist.
I really tried to see this in theaters. I just never got around to it. And for whatever reason, we didn't review this on the podcast when it came out.
No, and I
we
did see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got to see it on a big screen.
Yeah, we weren't as proficient as we are now with reviewing film. Now we do it all the time, so it's like, how do we not, touch up on a film now? But I do want to talk about the 4 awards that it did win at the Academy
Sure.
Awards because it's a very big deal, and they're all huge categories.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. At the 92nd Academy Awards, it won Best Picture, as we talked about earlier. It won Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, which is a huge one, and Best International Film. But I mean, if you're going to win Best Picture, you better win Best International Film. It kind of goes hand in
That'd be
hand.
very
You
odd
gotta
if
give 'em
something.
both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Could you imagine if it didn't win Best International Film?
This
but
film was just better,
It's just like, hold on, what?
but not the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, that was kind of a give me. Thank God they don't do the Best Picture first, and they say that to last.
Right.
Because that'd really be a spoiler for Best International.
It would be.
But,
It's not good storytelling.
but yeah, man, I remember I watched that Oscars, and it was really, really cool to see them win because everyone was just fucking pumped for them. No matter what, I mean, there was a lot of good films that year, but I feel like everyone, even people that had other films up, were rooting for Parasite.
Oh yeah. Well, it's groundbreaking too. I mean, as we said, it broke history. A foreign film had never won for Best Picture,
Yeah.
and it finally did after 92 of these.
Yeah, which could be probably for a number of reasons. I guarantee there's been years where a best foreign film has been the best film, and it just hasn't won
And
because
it didn't win for politics or whatever.
yeah,
else.
exactly,
Yeah.
or racism or whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a huge accomplishment nonetheless, man, because it's hard to get Americans to even watch films with subtitles.
Yep.
So, but yeah, a huge compliment. It's amazing, but can you say it didn't warrant it? Did you say it did not deserve?
Oh no, this absolutely
because I've seen it around 3 times now.
What I yeah.
This is your first.
This
time.
is my first time watching it, and I got to tell you, the award that all of the 4 awards that it won makes sense, but the one that makes the most sense to me is Best Original Screenplay.
I was hoping you weren't going to say anything else, but because I could not agree anymore. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
The
just
writing is so
amazing.
Good. Yeah.
And like, there was not 1 millisecond in this film where I was not paying attention.
Yeah. The whole thing
not
of
one,
how the whole family gets hired on.
Yes.
How one thing leads to another. It's so well done, so
brilliant.
smart. Yeah. And just writing for these family who are just con artists.
They are.
But smart, smart because of their scenario.
And their surroundings. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have no choice.
Yeah.
But to do this, otherwise they will live in poverty forever.
Yep.
And it really shows you that class system too.
It does, and it's such a weird take, even when as an audience member, because you're like, I get the feeling I'm supposed to be rooting against these people.
Yeah,
these,
in
these,
like
these
a weird
poor
way
people.
because
Yeah.
they're technically doing the wrong thing.
They're taking
but
advantage of everyone.
You want them to succeed because you realize like their circumstances and how hard their life is. And I love
Yeah.
how they used like how they lived, the family lived, and it kind of felt like they just kept walking downstairs, like it was down in the depths of earth. Like that's what I
yeah.
felt like. And then with the flooding and everything else, like it just, I don't know, it made so much sense. And I thought it was kind of a representation of the class system as well. Like
Oh, it
even
was
with-
for sure. Yeah.
even with like the levels, like the leader live up here on these hills, on these mountains, and then like the lower class lives kind of underground. It almost felt like.
Oh,
Like, how
absolutely,
deep
yeah.
that-
Yeah, it's one of those films where you could break every scene down and like
Yes.
everything means something. Like the stone and like the how the house was designed, and like you said, to where these rich people are living up on this hill, and then the poor people are literally living beneath ground, to where whenever it rains, it floods their entire house.
Uh-huh.
Like they're living in the worst basement housing, and it's horrible. And now they look up, and it's just people pissing.
Drunk people
And
pissing
but at
around
the
and
start,
just-
it's like they're so used to it that they don't even fight the guy pissing on their house anymore. They
It's
just go
just-
let
it's
him.
just a
go.
common
And they
thing.
don't even have the energy to close their windows when they're doing fumigation outside the streets.
well, because they say it'll kill the roaches.
Yeah, and how crazy is that, man?
That's insane.
But it starts out as
And
one film, and then it turns to something
It does.
completely different about 40 minutes into it.
I love that fumigation scene though, when it's all in the house and they're all coughing, and the father, he just plays it like
Yeah.
nothing's going on, just plays the video and continues to fold pizza boxes.
Well, what else can he do? He's just got to make the best of it. And
Exactly.
he can't act like he's suffering. He's the head of the house.
I know, man.
It's a tough situation for sure.
is.
It's a tough situation, but it does such a good job of, again, writing it so well that you don't hate these people. You're rooting for them, and you're
have to.
rooting strongly against the rich people.
Yes.
For sure, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but towards the end, I was happy that fucking little kid was scarred for life, continuously.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're just getting the feeling that, oh my God, these people have no, there's no resistance in their life.
None at all.
Every single thing is handed to them, so they have zero, and it doubles down to where the mom is like, and they have no idea. They are completely unaware that there's even these people living this other way.
Yeah.
To where it rains, but when you're living on top of the hill, she says something like to him and the dad at this point. Everyone was making snaps, but she goes, "Oh, it was so nice to have that rain." Why their house was completely destroyed.
They have no perspective, none whatsoever. And the son has no perspective either, and the daughter has no perspective. Like they have no idea. And I think it's even brought up by the daughter that, oh, this kid doesn't even know that there's poor people.
Yeah. Completely, and there's so
sheltered.
many little signs like that too, with even like the kid with constantly like wearing like the Native American stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But to him, it was just a toy to them and whatnot. This like
Just his
years of
fantasy.
heritage and stuff like that. It was just a way to make that kid happy. But it was this whole thing where it's like those were although they do nothing wrong the entire time, those are the people. Those are the enemy. The people you're rooting against. Just because how ignorant they are of the way other people live. And they're so ignorant they don't even realize there's a man living in their house. This fucking this crazy old demented man living in their home taking from them. They don't even realize because they have so much shit.
Of course.
So I mean, if you see it normally, you know, if you're poor and you saw things missing, you'd be like, "Fuck, what's going on?"
And they alluded to that early on too, where they said that their maid would
funny,
eat for
yeah.
two.
Yeah.
It's like, man, she's got an appetite. She sure eats for two.
And it's something you don't catch watching it the first time.
You don't.
But then the second time, I'm like, oh man, that is funny. Yeah.
Well, I caught it after I realized that the
Oh,
husband
yeah,
was it.
yeah.
But before that, I was just like, oh, she just must like to eat.
You just think
I
that
was
she's
thinking 'cause
calling
she's poor,
they're
you know?
calling her fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just being dicks, which they were. You know, they didn't think she was stealing food. They just thought she was fucking gorging herself.
Well, and with a job like that stress kind of job of like taking on all the chores for this rich elite family, like, yeah, you're going to eat more. You're going to at least benefit some way and at least get as much food as you possibly can because you probably can't pay for it outside of that,
Oh yeah.
you know? So, I mean, it all made sense to me, but I love that little twist when we find out about her husband in that cellar.
You think it's going to turn into a horror film, man? When she comes in and she goes, "Oh, let me show you something." Mm-hmm. I thought the first time I saw it, I thought there'd be some kind of creature down there, like they're storing some like kid they don't talk about or something. He's got like 4 arms. He's like freak, but that it gets dark, man. And it's a dark comedy thriller, but man, it gets dark when it shows the guy down there. Creeps me out. And the story, though, someone got to talk about is this film is hilarious. It's a dark comedy,
really funny.
and that's why people like it so much because it is so damn funny. And again, so dark also. So we always talk about dark comedy. It's got to be super dark.
Yep.
But it's got to be just as funny if you're going to do it. You got to have the perfect balance, and that's what this does. When the mom's talking about the story of the kid eating cake for his birthday when he's traumatized.
Yeah, because he's stuck into the kitchen.
So, and you see the guy, and his head just pops up, and his eyes are bulging.
I know.
It's the scariest thing of all time.
It was pretty scary. I had to go back and be like, hold on, did I just see that myself?
He just pops up and then pops down, and the kid gets so scared he has a seizure.
Yeah, he does.
And he hates cake.
He hates cake.
scars
He'll
him
never
for-
eat cake again.
Imagine you see that as a kid, man. You'd be in
that'd fuck
therapy
with
for
you.
fucking
for sure.
years. You couldn't go by stairs. You
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
go by cake. It's so well done too. Where the guy just, and it's a scary looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is fucking freaky looking. And I remember they invited him to the Oscar thing. He was there with like all the party, and it looks just like the guy, but he's just in a suit, and he looks still as crazy as possible. Yeah. But yeah, I love that, and that scene was so funny too when she's explaining how that kid was just scarred for life.
Oh, yeah.
He just snuck up there one day.
Well, and then like to go back, you know, we're talking about the first kid that got introduced as the tutor for the daughter.
Yeah.
And his friend's coming, you know, his friend
Min.
yes, who went to college,
Yep.
who did all that, and he gives the opportunity to what's his name?
The main kid.
Yeah.
I can't remember because they use fake names as well.
They do. It was Kevin. I'll just call him Kevin because that's what the family calls him.
Yep.
But Kevin's tutoring and all this. But his friend told him something that I didn't catch on until later about how he was going to marry the girl when she went to the university.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't know what that meant at first until he went to tutor her, and then he kissed her, and I go, oh shit, that's the same thing he's doing that his friend told him that he was gonna do to marry Rich. And I was like, oh wow, that's something I never would have thought of, but it made so much sense. And then when he brought in his sister, and she's able to tell the mom about the trauma that happened in the first grade. And I love that scene because she's like, did your son have something traumatic happen in the first grade? And she literally goes, like she's just like
It's
petrified.
good editing too.
It
It's
is
good
great
It's good
editing.
camera work too.
Yes.
Because it like zooms in her face and she's just like scarred from it too. Yeah.
Mortified.
That's good. And the scene that when they're talking about the old maid, because they got to get rid of the old maid to get the mom in, and
They do the peaches
the
thing.
TB. They say that she has tuberculosis. And remember, the mom is just like shaking from it. He tells her in the car, and she's mortified. And then
Well, she's even like, tuberculosis? I thought that
I
was
didn't know they
curable
had
now.
that
Yeah. I thought it was like, it's all good now.
And then they run to the house and they sprinkle because the maid's
peach
allergic
fuzz.
to peach, so she's
Yeah.
coughing up a storm.
Oh, dude.
And remember, he goes to the garbage can and he pulls out the napkin. It's covered in blood, and the mom just faints. It's so
Okay, but
damn
the
funny.
editing is great
Yeah.
on that because right before that, they cut to the girl and they go, oh, add this for an added bonus.
Yeah.
If you get it, this is the bonus. And it was just a hot sauce packet.
Yeah.
And then you see him spray it on
And the maid is just dying.
she's coughing
But
so hard.
Mr. Kim was his name. But his face when he burns the napkin, why would he go straight for the garbage can?
I know. It's so dumb.
But his face, he's so scared when he gets it, and she just immediately faints. It's so damn funny.
Fires her instantly. She's like, yeah, I got to let you go.
Yeah, to TB. You can't tell the dad or anything to do the mom. And that's the thing about the family is the rich family is just as fucking unhappy, maybe more unhappy than the poor family.
Yep.
The mom is fucking miserable. She's a nervous wreck. And even she asked the husband for drugs at one point.
She does.
So you can tell she's super fucking unhappy.
Well, she's a little dim-witted too. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say the brightest star out there.
Yeah, remember when they first when Kevin, that's his name, right?
Yeah,
he comes in for the first interview and she's just passed out outside the
I
patio.
know.
She's gonna
And the maid's got to wake her up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of it's the thing where it's all just it's all an act. It's all perceived happiness.
Yes.
Like the dad, the mom, they didn't fucking like each other.
No,
they
you could tell.
barely liked the kids. I mean, they were constantly unhappy, but they constantly had to act like everything was together. Because the mom, when she found out all those things, like the driver, they thought they was fucking. The mom was mortified by
Oh,
that.
she was so upset. And that was such a perfect plant because honestly, I didn't know. I was like, why is she taking her pants off or whatever, underwear
Yeah.
off? Like, why is she leaving it in the car? And then I go, oh shit, that makes sense. They want to fire the driver to get the dad. It was like a snowball effect, one thing after another, where the whole family ends up working for this rich family. Just the premise is hilarious. And every single time they did it was so believable too. You know, it was like that funny, believable.
Oh yeah, it was,
Where it was
nothing like yeah, exactly. It was nothing like you
too comical where it was like, okay,
yeah, and it
roll
wouldn't
your
happen.
eyes.
Like everything that happened, it's like it was crazy, like the TB and stuff. But they did it very well, and it just shows you how good they are at manipulating people at this point. 'Cause
And-
that's
and-
how you get up in the world.
Yeah, and a credit to the dialogue as well because you have to be able to sell that.
Oh yeah,
Every time, and the dialogue was so quick and witty too. I mean, I love the dialogue with Kevin and his sister. Both the first two times they are introduced, just in like awesome writing because she even talks about the little art piece and then the corner. She goes, "Yeah, this
Yeah.
goes into the certain part of the brain that involves
schizophrenic.
trauma."
Yeah,
schizophrenic.
part, yeah. Well, the chemistry between the family members is super good. They all feel like they've been, family members forever.
Yes.
It feels so organic and so
Natural.
authentic. Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. They feel like they're taking care of each other, you know,
Yes.
and they really care about what happens to each other, especially towards the end with the climax. You know, you can see that they're all very upset by what's happening,
Yeah.
but no one gives a shit about them because they're the help.
It got dark real quick too, and I love it. It had so many elements. This film had so many elements, and then like the big question that you ask as soon as we find out about this secret dungeon. It's a terrible word. Secret bunker.
Yeah.
Right. And then I love the scene where the family's eavesdropping and they're all sitting at the stairs, and she goes, "No," she goes, "I'm calling the cops right now," and then they all fall
And
down.
then they all fall, and then
And she's like, "Give me some grace." She goes, "Fuck you, bitch."
yeah, well, it's like it's this realization that, oh fuck, you could get even lower than them.
Yeah.
Like you could get lower than a basement
Oh,
apartment.
there's levels to this game.
You have no idea. The damn
no
near
idea.
bottom though is hiding your husband in someone else's house. So
Yeah.
that's pretty fucking bottom tier.
It is.
But their realization of like, oh my god,
There's people worse than this.
and then it's the whole thing where like they're completely ignorant to people even lower than them. It's the whole thing, you know. It's constant throughout every class, but
It gets
because
really
everyone looking out for each other.
Yeah. And it gets really dark too once we hit that point in that film because it leaves you with the question of what would you do in that situation.
Well, it's
And when this lady, she's ready to go and tell the family, you're in a lot of trouble. You could go to prison for years, man. Like you could, like your whole world changes. So what do? Do you kidnap them? Do you kill them? Because no one knows they're down there. It is that tough question. What will you do to protect your family? And I liked how they kind of dived into that and kind of let you explore as an audience member yourself.
yeah. Well, they had a taste of a good life at that point, and
Exactly.
they would do anything to go back, and you could
keep it.
see it, especially the dad, Mr. Kim. You know, he works with Bong Joon-ho a lot. They do a lot of movies. He's so good, but you can see in his eyes he's not going back.
Nope.
Like and you can see it taking a toll on him not being able to support his family, especially at the start where they're like having to scramble around even for a Wi-Fi
signal, yeah, and they get it right on the above of the toilet too, and it's like
exactly.
and
It's
they're bumming that
brutal.
Wi-Fi too.
Yeah.
It's not even their Wi-Fi; they're bumming it.
So you could tell at that point, him and the mom, you know, they did not want to go back to their lives. But that's a really funny part. But it does. You're right. Like 40 minutes into it, it fucking cranks it up to 10. And once it starts, it doesn't let off the gas.
It does not.
Once you do the realization that you find out there's a guy living, it's such a weird twist too. I assume you never saw it coming. I mean,
No, never.
You think at first it's just going to be this whole thing of them scamming this family.
Yeah, and eventually I thought there was going to be something that would, kind of twist it on its head.
Yeah.
But not in a million years
No,
would I have
it's
ever thought that.
crazy.
And it all made perfect sense too.
Yeah.
It was all believable.
Yeah.
And that's like the most important thing in a film is to be able to believe the circumstance. And the North Korean explanation was perfect. And then they sold the house.
Yeah.
But the realtor must have never told these new rich people about it.
Well, it was
able to be
the
hidden.
architect or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember, he made the house, and she was the maid when he lived there.
Yes.
then
And that's how she knew about it.
And then the guy's been living there for 4 years. Her husband's living there
Insane.
for 4 years.
Because he's screwed with some loan sharks and they're still after him. Wild.
And it's everyone's got the same story. Their business went under. Everyone that remember they were talking about the cake shop and all that. They
Yep.
all had a business that went under, and it's a thing where you could feel it's meant to illustrate what's going on in South Korea right now with how first class from the lower class, how it's getting wider and wider, but it hits home. I feel like for every country. You know,
does,
I think,
every country,
I think if it's
yeah.
happening there, then it's probably happening everywhere.
Right.
'Cause
It's
it-
universal.
Because although this is a South Korean film, and it's very obvious that it was written for that way and to portray something terrible that's happening in South Korea. But yeah, man, it's I feel like when you got a movie this good, it's universal what the story it's telling because it's the same thing that's happening here, and I'm sure it's happening everywhere.
Absolutely.
You know, rich people are getting richer, and poor people are getting poorer.
Let's talk about the rich people's house.
Yeah.
I love this. This was really cool. I could not tell watching this movie at all. When I was looking up some things about this movie, it blew me away. That house, that house was completely built for the film, right? And Bong Joon-ho actually drew up the sketches, the blueprints for it, and then the architect came in and was like, this is the worst home ever. No one would ever buy it. But what's really interesting about this is there was only a first level. The second level was all put in post-production.
Yeah, that was good. And their bottom basement they had the house, but everything else was CGI. You know, all the surrounding buildings. I saw that because when he was, they do their rounds with when the Oscars, they go do interviews. But Vanity Fair always does where they break down a scene, and Bong Joon-ho, he broke down that first scene. You know, the scene where they get the stone.
Yeah.
The stone plays a very integral and important part of this.
Very metaphorical.
Exactly,
as well.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, and they even say it. They even say it multiple times. Kevin says it. He goes, "Whoa, this is metaphorical." He says it multiple times, and it's
does.
right on the nose.
It is.
It's yeah, you know, the director just must have felt so much confidence to even be able to do that, to be like, even to say it out loud. But yeah, that stone, he broke down the full scene. It was awesome. But yeah, all CGI, everything. But that's the kind of CGI you want. Not a movie that relies on the CGI, just adds to the film.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, you don't want to notice.
You don't want to notice.
Yeah.
That's why it just worked perfectly.
Yeah, I don't want to know that he used CGI at all during this film, and he used it in the perfect amount.
And something else that I found about this actual, the whole concept of this film with Bong Joon-ho, he originally, this screenplay was supposed to be a theatrical play. Did you know that?
I could see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally saw it, and I was like, man, now that we've seen it in film format, I would love to see this in theater, because this is the script. This kind of script would work perfectly for a theatrical
I'm
play.
sure it was a little different to where earlier on when he was first writing it, to where his screen, because I'm not sure how you would do with the guy living below, how you convey that on theater.
Right.
So
It would be hard.
I'm sure maybe that was different earlier on.
Yes.
But yeah, I see the whole family drama and that element working out perfectly. I could see it in the future, them kind of reworking it and having a play come out too, because it's very heavily based on just the inner workings of the family. That's the most focus, is just what this family's doing. But I don't know if you could do the tension as well in a play too, because the tension when they're hiding below the coffee table, when the family comes home,
It's pretty high.
you can
And
cut
the
you can
mess
cut it with a
and
knife.
everything, too. Oh my
Exactly,
God,
and they're all getting
yeah.
drunk and fucking wait. You knew something bad was going to happen.
Well, you should have saw the writing in the sky with the rain and how bad it was raining.
Yeah.
You had to have thought, and I kept going over that. I was like, they're going out camping. I go, they're definitely coming back home. That was the only part of the film where I knew for sure they're definitely
It's this
coming
strange
back home.
thing that it's like they didn't give a fuck at that point.
No, they didn't.
They almost
Comfortability.
and they almost believed the lie
Yes.
that this is our house, we can do whatever we want.
Well, they even say that. They preface that too,
Yeah.
where they say, one day we're going to own this house.
And even when remember when they're all out in the front lawn and she's doing, because she's like the mom was like an Olympic. What's the thing called with it's not shot put, but
I know what you're talking about. The discus.
it's not discus. Discus is with,
Oh, yeah,
with a
that's
disc. But it's the thing that it's the rock and then the string
Yep.
and you swing around. But she's doing that, remember?
Uh-huh.
She just lets go and you just hear it break a window. And they don't even give a fuck.
They don't care.
Because if you're a millionaire, you wouldn't.
No.
So I think that was, and the more I watch it, I start to realize that. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, were they so careless? But yeah, it's the thing that they just start believing the lie that this is their home when really it's not. And that comes shattering down in an instant when they get that call that they're fucking, 5 minutes away?
Yeah. 8 minutes
And
away.
she's gotta make
and they
ramen.
Right. And she goes, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and they're like cleaning the house. And also the lady and her husband
Are trying to come back upstairs. And you're trying to tie them. And dude,
trying to tie him down. The mom and they're literally got the lady by the ankles,
I
and
know.
she's crawling up the stairs.
and there are horror elements to this film as well.
Very
Very scary
It
and
goes
tense.
goes from funny to fucking like you shut up real quick, and
Yes.
you're like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy. And that is very well conveyed when the old maid is walking up the stairs and she kicks her.
She has to.
And she hits that fucking concrete and the sound, man.
So
you
hard
know it's
in the
over.
back of her head.
You
I
know
knew
it's
she
over.
was dead.
Yep.
I was actually shocked that she was still alive for a little while.
Well, I
with
figured it was
concussion,
just
but
fucking
yeah.
whatever.
It was
Nerves
what-
at this point. Yeah, just keeping her alive.
And I mean, when you get a concussion that bad, you have to stay awake. Like you can't be
Exactly.
having those
You go to
people
sleep. Yeah, you don't die immediately. You're
No.
kind of dazed, and then you go to sleep. Because she was, and they showed perfect signs of concussion. She
They
was
did- oh, for
throwing
sure.
up,
And she was woozy and daisy and
and it was brutal. It was such a tough scene to watch, man, because the husband is tied up, watching her fucking
die.
go. Exactly, just sitting there.
And that's where his obviously, but that's
Yeah.
where his anger stemmed from, and that's where he just goes absolutely ballistic when he escapes.
And then it adds a whole nother level to the film where it's like, oh, these were our good guys. These were the bad guys.
Yeah.
Now these are the bad guys and these are the good guys. Because now in that guy's mind, it wasn't, because remember, he was so low that he had a lot of respect for the family. He thought of them almost as gods. That they gave them food once in a while.
Yep.
Because remember, he would always
had
yell,
the pictures
"Respect!"
of them. Yeah, exactly.
But so now this middle class family was the villain to him. They were the ones that took everything from them.
That scene was so terrifying too when he's chasing Kevin, because Kevin drops the rock like dumbass.
Yeah.
Drops it down
You don't
the
even need
stairs.
that rock. Ditch it.
I know.
It's bringing misfortune.
Well, I think what he was trying to do is smash the guy's head in, which
but
come to
still,
find out later on,
heavy
happened to him.
metaphor where it was like
Yeah.
this thing was what made us rich, because the rock was supposed to bring prosperity.
yes,
Remember,
of
it
course.
was actually
the rock of wealth.
It was literally supposed to bring monetary value.
So
So like just money, things that are tangible.
Yes.
So he was gonna literally to keep these things that he had to use that rock to kill that guy.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
No, it did not.
You have no idea
Well-
the strength of a crazy poor man that's got nothing
Nothing
to lose.
And I love when he tethers him with the rope around his neck. He barely gets out in time. He runs up the stairs and then he gets caught.
Yep.
And a soup, and it takes him back.
And
then
the guy
he
just
comes up. Yeah.
yelling with like the dog thing they catch dogs
Uh-huh.
with. the necktie but
Chases him up the stairs, and then he just smashes his head in, picks up the rock again, and hits him over the head. I thought for sure that kid was dead.
yeah.
I was like, there's
Tough
no way
kid.
he's living. Yeah,
Well, it did have brain damage.
he did.
It
He had to have
funny,
brain
like,
surgery, a lot of swelling. Not a good sign.
He wasn't too good, man. In the hospital, he was laughing a lot,
He
and
was
that's usually not the best.
Not the best sign.
Yeah, absolutely. But.
Well, and unfortunately for his sister as well, she didn't make it.
Well, should we just talk about the ending scene?
Yes.
You're thinking this couldn't get crazier, right?
No.
You got some crazy troll man living below your house. He's eating your scraps that fall off the table like a little mouse. He's been living there for fucking years. He's got a lot. You think it can't get any crazier than this? But then that party scene has happened, man, and it's
And it's for song's birthday.
yes, and they have no idea what all this is happening. This battle is going on in their basement, in their house, and these fucking
Not a
rich
clue.
people have not a goddamn idea. Completely unaware.
Yeah.
It
And-
kind of scares you.
It does scare you. And it
Like,
does,
how could these people be completely unaware that there's an entire lower class doing these things, fighting each other just
I
to
know.
survive,
And
taking
that's-
advantage of each other?
That is the brilliance of the title of this film, because it really does have a double meaning.
Oh, yeah.
And Bong, I mean, I'm not the one that came up with this. Bong Joon-ho,
Joon-ho.
Joon-ho, I'm sorry. He literally came out and said this film has a double meaning. Because it's the poor leeching off the rich and taking advantage of the rich, but in that same breath, it's the rich taking advantage of the poor in terms of labor.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and it's the rich believing that these lower class people are parasites and that
Yes.
they're only trying to take advantage of us and our wealth. That's all they want is our wealth. And it's said time and time again throughout the film that no matter how close you get to these rich people, you're not one of them. And it's heavy-handed. They don't just come out and say it, but with the smell thing.
Yep.
With the thought that you're lower class and that you just naturally give off this lower class stench.
Smell, yeah.
That these rich people can just smell you and tell that you are not one of them. That's towards the end, but that's like, I mean, it's crazy to think
Well,
about.
and that was under the coffee table when they heard him
Yeah.
talk about the driver, about
And then
the father.
and then he's trying to shower and do all kind of deodorants, and then it's later on the car, and that's at that moment he's about to snap.
Well, and that is what sets off the father at the end and stabs him, because
Yeah.
he mentions the smell of the man,
Yeah.
the guy in the basement.
Yep.
When he comes out, he goes, "Oh, the stench."
Well, and Mr. Kim, the dad, remember they're going to do the surprise Native American thing for his son. And remember, Mr. Kim, he tries to talk to him, and then the dad goes, "Don't forget you're working."
Yeah, this
Because-
is part of the gig.
Yeah, he goes, "Don't forget we didn't invite you like as a guest."
Yeah.
And that was just fucking soul crushing for him. You
It
could
was.
tell.
Well,
That
it's
no matter
such a shitty thing to say, especially if you're gonna get one of your worker guys. Just enjoy the moment with them.
Yeah,
you know?
well, and it's a
that-
shitty thing for both. It's a shitty that Mr. Kim would even need this guy's valuation,
right.
and thinking that all because he's gotten close with the family that they're gonna think that they're part of the family. It's shitty that rich guy again could only ever see that guy as the help.
Yeah, that's it.
It's brutal, but he does get a good stabbing for it.
Well, you know what? You kind of get what you deserve.
Exactly, man. And you could. It's against a weird thing where it's like I should feel upset, but I was more upset about the crazy guy getting skewered through the torso, and then really upset by the girl getting stabbed in the heart as well.
Very unfortunate.
I wasn't upset that the kid got scarred for life and that the dad unfortunately got stabbed in the heart.
Yeah,
but
something else that I found about this film that I want to go back and rewatch it. But I want to go back and rewatch the black and white version of this.
I know.
There was a black and white version released.
I haven't seen it yet.
And Bong Joon-ho came out and said that the reason why was to really show the class difference.
Oh, I think that would absolutely convey that message very powerful. Yeah, with black and white.
Yes.
Yeah, because it makes it feel like. Yeah, again, it makes it feel like an older film too, where it makes you feel like it's those older times too, where it's that upper class and lower class. And it's getting waged again. Class warfare is the main thing. But yeah, I would love to see this in black and white. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty powerful to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not every film should be in black and white, but every once in a while there's a film that earns it. But yeah,
films like this, like The Lighthouse, like those kind of films, got to be in black and white.
Oh yeah, but this and the ending though. I love the ending with eventually that dad taking the place of that of the guy. It was,
of the husband.
Yeah, it was.
He just snuck through the garage.
Poetic.
Yes, and then the whole Morse code thing as well.
Yeah, and it's the thing of like, they're at the lowest. They're at the lowest of the low. The dad's got to fucking live in this house now forever. But it's
the son vows to earn enough money to buy it, though.
He does, and it takes him 20 years?
Yeah,
it takes him a long time. Yeah, I love that ending, man. I just have just strong feelings for this film.
Yeah, as do I.
I love it. I think it's a damn near perfect film, and I don't say that very often, but this one's damn near. I don't see any fault in it at all, and the acting is incredible. We barely talked about it, but the acting is really good.
And Bong Joon-ho has no films upcoming either. There's no pre-production or anything.
No, that
direction.
sucks.
Yeah.
Well, he's working on something.
Oh yeah, I would hope so.
He's got, but yeah, I understand. Take a break.
Yeah. And he,
it's only
obviously
been a year.
He is helping with the Snowpiercer TV show, so that could definitely be.
Yeah, which I don't know about that.
Neither do I. I mean, I
love the films.
Show.
I love the film so much that I'm scared of watching this and it because I've heard mixed things. I've heard it's not. I heard it's pretty different from the film.
And when you did the film so well, it's weird to turn it into a TV show.
That's what I thought too. Yeah,
it's just an odd choice, I think, in my personal opinion.
Well, if you look at his filmography, he doesn't do a movie a year.
No, he doesn't.
He's like a Tarantino when it comes to that.
Yes,
where which I like.
Oh yeah, I mean,
because
he makes great
them
film.
out like fucking Michael Bay, like they're a factory. Take your time on him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he looks like he has a film like once every 2 to 3 years. So. But I'll be looking for it.
Yes, I will. As will I, for sure.
I'll be definitely looking for it. And I know, just speaking of Tarantino, I know he had high praise for Bong Joon-ho. But yeah, I think they're similar in their storytelling abilities.
Yep.
Where once it gets going, you're just glued to it, the entire time.
Alrighty, Cash. You got anything else?
That's all I got.
Alrighty.
If you haven't seen it yet,
gotta go see it. I mean, we spoiled it for you. But,
absolutely.
You got to go see it.
But
it's well worth it.
And it's worth, I know, remember, people still talk about how they haven't done a dubbed version in English. And people won't.
You don't need it.
People won't see it until
I know, it's so stupid. Subtitles are not that hard.
Yeah.
Hulu
knew. Hulu got the rights for this quick.
They did.
They weren't on Netflix because this is this has got Prime written all over it.
Yes.
Fucking Amazon wanted this.
They wanted it. Yeah, but Hulu paid the bigger dollar.
Hulu did it. They don't do that very often.
They don't.
But man, they came out strong and said they wanted it. That's
well, it's
Disney,
good. I mean, they got Parasite on it, and that Palm Springs film was great.
Yeah.
So they're really picking up the steam for the films.
Oh, yeah. And they still, if you go on Hulu, they're still advertising Parasite.
They are. Yeah.
I see advertisements for it all the time on Hulu, which is great because it's the best film they have on Hulu.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. All right.
Alrighty, well, that is our review for Parasite. If you guys like what you're seeing here and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you're listening in audio format, you can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher, social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter, that's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.